Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Gaming After Dark, episode 17. I am your host, Noof Nukem, and my co-host Primal Eve. I'm not sure what's happening. She said she was having some technical issues, was having trouble accessing the account or whatever. So I don't know. I hope she's going to be here, guys, but I couldn't say for sure if she will be or not. I really do hope she makes it. Maybe she'll make it later, but. Anyway, we're gonna still have one heck of a show for you tonight. Let me tell you, because I've got two of the coolest dudes in the podcast game with me tonight. Two of my friends, two guys I admire, and they're here with me to chow down on all this E3 information. Let's start off with my first guest, Mr. Invader Gaming. What's up, Game Invader?
Hey, Noof. Thanks for having me on. It's a pleasure to be here. And hey, everyone, thanks everybody for whoever's in the chat. I can't wait to talk about all the games, everything that's, popped up over the past few days over E3. Saltiest Gaming here, my buddy Salty. Can't wait to talk to him, talk to just, all these great gaming minds here. And hopefully Primal Eve gets in here. And yeah, I'm just stoked to talk about all the news that popped up.
Oh, and there's been a lot, and
Great gaming minds here.
something going on. Okay, heard like a feedback, but yeah, let's let's get over to my next guest. It is the saltiest one, my partner on the Saltiest Gaming podcast, the host of himself. He is here, Saltiest Gaming. What's going on, brother? I know you've been a busy man. Let people know what's up, and obviously you've had a few snafus with the channel as well, so maybe people are wondering what's been going on. There you go, man. Chime on in.
Yeah, every year, well, last couple years, I've decided to, live stream events like you can do on YouTube, which isn't an issue. I mean, it gets copyright claimed, but it doesn't mean you get a strike on your channel. I don't know if you guys are familiar or not, but anyway, last year Ubisoft sent out strikes on people that did the live stream, and it shut people's ability to live stream down, affected their channel. There's this big thing going on, and they decided to do it again this year. So I got a notification that I'm not able to live stream for 90 days, and that unless this gets resolved, which it has for some people that I know of, then unfortunately, I don't know. We're gonna have to figure something out. But yeah, I'm not the happiest here, but as they say, you move forward. It doesn't matter what kind of shit life throws at you. You got to just wipe it off and move forward. So
Yeah.
it is what it is, man. I've enjoyed E3, and I think it's been okay. I mean, Nintendo kind of was probably the best showing, which we'll get into. But I think other than that, I think E3's kind of been down this year. But it's been enjoyable. I'm a gamer. I love talking games, so I'm glad to be here.
Well, we're glad to have you. I'm glad to have Invader here as well. Like I said, hopefully Eve makes it out here shortly. Yes, E3's guys have become fairly unpredictable for the most part, as is YouTube. But boy, these shows, there was some heavy hitters in almost every show. There's no question about it. We're going to weigh in on what we like, what we disliked about each and every one. So we're going to start off with like EA. We're going to get down to Microsoft, Bethesda, Ubisoft, Nintendo. Obviously, we can't talk about Sony. They weren't there, which kind of sucks for all gamers in general. Because, like I said, at the end of the day, guys, if you are a gamer, I think you had to be happy with at least something from this show. If you're completely miserable, there is no cure for what ails you, I don't think, because there has to be something here, at least in my opinion. But let's give a shout out to the amazing chat. We already got 20 people strolling in here already. Let's give a shout out to my brothers from different mothers, my sisters from different mistas. And let's start off with the always guy you can rely on, Spider-Man 356. What's happening, brothers? Timothy Dixon's in the house. Rob, what is happening? We've got Dre Venero is here. Lunch Bizzle is in the house. Stinking Corpse, what's going on, my brother Stinky? Truth X7, how you doing, sir? We got Yobi Dren here. Z Black Rider, Crazy Greek Dude is up in the house. We got a great Ashtray Gaming, Michael Monkey Punch Lugo. So yeah, man, we got a great crew here hanging out with us already. There you go. Like I said, and I got a great panel. Even though Eve's not here, these guys know how to rock these shows, and I'm excited to talk about everything because if we haven't talked about enough about it already, we're going to talk about it now again. But maybe we'll have some different angles on some of the stuff we saw. So let's get right into it, guys, because it is. I don't want to drag on too much tonight, but let's get right down to it. Let's start out with EA, guys. I'm going to just come out and say I think EA had one of the dullest shows they've ever had. Very predictable by the book. Wasn't a whole lot to look at least in my opinion. And I'll give you my opinion in a second. But let's go to the guests first. And I will start out with the man I introduced first. Invader, what was your take on what you saw out of EA this year? Is this just a lull year for them? Or what is going on? Are they in a transition? Do you think maybe they were weak on games this year because they're gearing up for the next gen of consoles? What's your take on what you saw?
Well, I called it the Jedi Fallen Order conference because that's the only thing that stood out for me and what everybody just seems to remember from it. Like, yeah, I mean, the rest of their conferences didn't seem very interesting at all. It's kind of a snooze fest, if you ask me, which is a shame because I used to actually look forward to what EA would have, but over the past couple of years, it's just been kind of more of the same. Yeah, Jedi Fallen Order looks great. I loved the gameplay that they showed. Everything looks pretty crispy, pretty smooth. I'm really drawn to that game. But then if you look at, like, they introduced some stuff for Apex Legends, which I'll admit I wasn't too interested in. Some people might be. Something, I think, some more content with Battlefield 5, which it's good that they keep adding to their games, but it's just more of the same. They got the sports games, talked about Anthem, The Sims, and they talked about a couple of indies, but otherwise there was nothing really new and original from them, and people are wondering, well, what is EA doing here?
Right. Well, let's just ask you a bit more in depth about that Star Wars, which obviously was the highlight of their show. The game looks pretty damn cool. Was there anything that stood out to you about the game? Did you watch the interview with Vince Zampella and the other guy on the stage? Did anything stick out to you as thinking like this is going to be something other than Star Wars games we've kind of seen in the past? To me personally, it had a little bit of that, what do you call it? The Force Unleashed vibe going on to it. Obviously, they probably borrowed a lot from that type of game. But what was your takeaway from it?
It just interested me. It's nice to not play a multiplayer centric Star Wars game, to have that story, the campaign, the focus there. It does remind me a lot of The Force Unleashed, which, it isn't a bad thing, with the way that the Force powers worked. And, there's some nods to Titanfall in there because if everyone doesn't know, Respawn's doing Jedi Fallen Order. And you saw a lot of the wall running there. So, there's some really interesting stuff that they're doing. The combat, I thought that maybe it was just the demo purposes, but I just picked up on the combat a bit. I was kind of picking away because the AI doesn't seem to be too smart, too responsive. Maybe that's just me, my own thoughts, but I wasn't too impressed there. But otherwise, I mean, everything looks pretty cool, and I'm just excited to see everything more. I mean, I know they revealed some other stuff, like a little bit more at the Microsoft conference, which looked pretty cool for Fallen Order, but I don't know, it got me excited, got me hyped for another Star Wars game, which I haven't been able to say for a while.
Yeah. Kind of weird though, seeing an EA fucking conference and legitimately no new Battlefield game, isn't it?
Yeah.
We've kind of gotten used to seeing those, much like we've gotten used to seeing CODs. And yeah, sure, they show it off and talked about Battlefield 5 in depth a little bit more, but I mean, like I said, the game's been out for a while now, and it is what it is, right? But let's get over to our other gent on the podcast. Salty, I guess you could probably lay this down pretty quickly. EA's conference wasn't exactly one for the ages, so give us your 2 cents on what you saw, and I guess what you thought of the highlight game.
Yeah, I think it makes sense that they did kind of this, I don't know, low-key stream and not an actual conference because there wasn't much to show besides Star Wars, which Invader touched on. One of the key things that I took away from it was the absence of Anthem. Anthem just came out recently, and to no-show one of your biggest games of the year, which just came out at the beginning of the year, is pretty telling. For that game. I know that they're trying to keep it on the low key to kind of, figure it out, but it's not a good sign, in my opinion, for that game to not show up at E3, the biggest conference, considering they had some kind of a roadmap scheduled out for it. So that's one of the things that I took away with that. Star Wars, obviously, I'm one of the biggest Star Wars fans out there. So yeah, I enjoyed the reveal immensely. I think that the setting's perfect for a video game for Star Wars. I think it has a lot of characters that you can find from the cartoons and in the movies, and everything starts connecting together. The guy Saw Gerrera, he's Rogue One, and he's also in the Clone Wars TV show, and he's also in Rebels. So they're going to have all these characters that are familiar and maybe some that aren't and new, and connect the dots there, and it's going to be canon. So the combat looked cool, the graphics looked amazing. I'm interested in the setting because Vader was hunting down those Jedi, and he was sending out his Inquisitors to pick them up, because the low-key Jedi, he didn't give a shit about them, right? He worried about the top dogs, right? Because he's basically putting it's like the Predator, where they put like a necklace of like body parts on them once they kill someone. Vader will he collects things from them and takes tokens from them. It's just kind of like a pride thing, right? He's kind of destroying the Jedi, so he's not going to fuck with this dude because he's kind of low key. He'll send his Inquisitors out, but there's going to be a lot of characters in there, like Barasafi. I don't know. I'm going kind of deep into Star Wars here. So she's from the Clone Wars. She defected. I heard rumors that she's going to be in there, so she might even be the Inquisitor with the mask on. So, I like that. I like the game. I like the combat. You could definitely see some Apex Legends Titanfall wall running, and then the combat kind of Souls-like, because they said they took inspirations from that. All kinds of cool stuff in that game, and we've not had a really good Star Wars first-person game since The Force Unleashed, honestly. So to have this game, it's one of my most anticipated games. It's up there. But other than that, I did a live stream for this, and it was just a snooze fest. Honestly, I didn't have enough caffeine to keep myself. I was like nodding off. I'm like, holy shit, I'm doing a live stream here, And then what's worse is Greg Miller was so cringe, bro. So cringe. I don't know, like Greg Miller was on cocaine or something when he started the show, like blew my ears out. What's up, everybody? Trying to like hug everybody, and everybody's like getting cringed out. But anyway, it is what it is, man.
Well, I give him at least a little prop of trying to get a guy who at least knows how to try to play a crowd instead of some of the really dull ass presenters that they bring out who are normally game developers or executives from the company that obviously have very little showmanship in front of a camera or know how to act, unless they got a script in front of them. So I'll give him that much. But yeah, he is a little bit cringe because it seems like he's trying a little too hard. There's a thing about coming out and being exciting, but there's a thing where you just come out and it feels like, that guy was paid to be there, and he's just super, fucking got a plug up his ass trying to get, the show on the road. Overall, like I said, for me, I'm going to keep it real quick. There was nothing there that it moved my dick needle at all outside of Star Wars, which being a Star Wars fan, how can you not be at least moderately excited? But I don't know. I don't have the luster for Star Wars games I used to. This one is definitely on my radar, but there was a lot of other games at the show, I guess you could say, that felt far superior in a lot of ways to me anyhow. So let's just go with the guys. Let's get a rating on this. I'll start with mine. If I had to give it a rating out of 10, I'm going to give EA a bare pass out of 5. Like I said, it was a show up, but nothing really exciting, nothing really new. They didn't drop any bombs. And I think we saw the Jedi Fallen Order sort of a couple of days before E3 too. So that's what I'm going to give it. Invader, what would you probably give it overall?
A very generous 4. I was very underwhelmed with what I saw, and like you guys are saying, it was a snooze fest for me. And when they're putting the audience to sleep, that's pretty bad. That and just no shows for stuff that we're kind of hoping or expecting from them. Again, there's no Anthem stuff. Anthem fans have been waiting, for more content because they're bleeding dry. And yeah, more of the next Battlefield and so on. It was very disappointing.
Yeah, Salty.
I'd have to give it a 4, man. It would be a 0 for me if the Star Wars game wasn't there, honestly. So I was gonna close the stream after the Star Wars reveal, honestly, but then I kind of went into Apex and Battlefield because it was just entertaining to talk with the people in the chat more than what was going on the video. But yeah, it was not good.
Absolutely. So there you go, guys. EA basically gets a par, if not subpar, performance on this one. Let's hope they got some big things next year. Kind of weird from EA, like I said. I mean, the thing is with EA every year too, they play it like clockwork. You see Madden, you see FIFA, and but the crazy thing is with this, and this is the one that still shocks me. As big as the Switch is coming right now, right? How come we haven't seen any of their big sports games other than FIFA on the Switch? What is the hole up here? What's going on? Is it that hard to port the other games or get a team to make them, or is every other sport on the planet like not good enough to be on the Switch? What is it? Like where's NHL? Where is NBA Live? Where is anything? And where is even Madden? You think Madden would be on the Switch by now, and they didn't. I don't know. Maybe I missed it, but I didn't recall anything saying they have those games coming to Switch other than FIFA 20.
It might be the fact that EA is pushing that Frostbite engine, and it might be just not compatible with the Switch architecture.
Yeah. Couldn't they just get some teams to go back and port like the 360 PS4 style games and throw some new rosters in?
I mean, Bethesda is a perfect example of how to port games over, because they're putting over like Doom and all kinds of other games, and we're seeing all kinds of new games put on there, like The Witcher. So if they wanted to put these games over, they'd find a way, but I don't know if EA sees enough value in it. I don't know if there's enough sports players on the Switch or something like that. I don't know.
Not to mention the online capabilities as well.
Right. Oh yeah, that's probably it. Yeah, we can't make enough money on those freaking Ultimate Team transactions, so let's forget about it.
Yeah, absolutely.
You never know the way things are going these days. I put nothing to chance. Let's give a big shout out to lots of fantastic people showing up in the chat, guys. We got 30 watching here right now. 30 awesome people, and that's all you need. You don't have to have a lot. You just need awesome. We got Supersonic Station is here. Wilmy Hood, what's going on? Yobi Dren, our good buddy Yobi's in the house. Jay Slayer Jay, how you doing, brother? Shinsia is up in the house. Eternal Shaddai is here as well. Lunkin Lunker, Dreadpool. Who else we got up here now? Stick Figures. Yeah, what's going on, Stick? We got C Script in the house. Michael Monkey Punch Luca. I think I might have already mentioned him, but hello again, guys. If I missed you, make sure you say Noof. You did say hello, brother, because you guys are what makes us tick, and we're glad that you could be here hanging out with us, man. Boom, boom, kaboom. Yes, Noof is in the room. Dreadpool. Cheers to you, mate. All right, let's get into the next conference. EA was definitely all right, so this is the big one. This one's probably going to take us the longest because I know this was, as being Xbox guys, obviously this was our most anticipated show of the year. So definitely most anticipated. Whether it lived up to expectations, well, we're going to find out. We're going to find out what these guys on the panel have to say about it, and I'm going to start in reverse order, and then I'll give you my take on it. Salty, there you go, baby. Microsoft had a chance to show it or blow it. Which do you think it was? What excited you most? Where do you think they went right? Where do you think they might have went wrong? What was your overall takeaway from what Xbox laid down?
It was kind of strange that they opened up with Outer Worlds, to be honest. Man, this is like a huge question, Noof, right? Like, we might have to cut this up in sections. So much stuff to talk about, right?
I guess the basic is talk about at least a couple of your favorite moments of their thing. Maybe talk about the one or two things that maybe disappointed you the most. Because like I said, there's so many games, it's almost impossible to get at everything. That sort of stuff, and then just kind of give an overall consensus or rating. I guess we'll go like that.
Okay, so like I said, to open it up with Outer Worlds, a multiplat, is strange to me. Okay, it kind of just shows me the direction the company's in, to be honest with you. And I'm gonna be making a video about this tomorrow, and it's not a negative thing, it's just a different thing. Okay, and you need to decide whether or not that's okay with you, and I'm not going to try to change. I'm just saying in general, everybody, right? Gamers, because throughout time, people change, companies change, things evolve and stuff like that. And Microsoft and Xbox today isn't the Microsoft and Xbox when they started Xbox, okay? So their main focus is Xbox Game Pass, and they decided to open up with a multiplat, and that is just very strange because at a conference of this magnitude, everybody and their mom would have figured, hey, you would be opening up with Halo Infinite, right? It's the banger, you open up the show, it's the explosions come off, or any of those other things. Maybe Ori and the Will of the Wisp, maybe, but to open up, I understand it's an Xbox first party studio. Okay, don't get me wrong, but it's
Salty. How about my February prediction?
Yeah, seriously. Yeah. And so it's, I don't know. That just tells me the direction immediately. I was caught off guard with that because am I excited for Outer Worlds? Yes, I'm excited for it. Was the news that it's dropping day and date in Game Pass welcomed? Yes, it was. But that threw me off. And then the fact that they were showing off, what was it, Wasteland 3 or whatever, that looks strange. There's a lot of indies shown off, which isn't a bad thing because I like indies. What else stood out? Ori and the Will of the Wisp. That was disappointing to me because it looks awesome, but we're not getting it until 2020, you know? So I was really expecting that game to come out and fill out the lineup this year. Because when you talk back and forth, you're like, okay, what does PlayStation have to offer? And what does Xbox have to offer? I was fully expecting Ori and the Will of the Wisp. So I was saying, well, Ori and the Will of the Wisp is going to be coming out, and then Gears 5, and that's a pretty decent end to 2019. But now it's just Gears 5. So then you look on the PlayStation side, they put out, you know, Days Gone, and they're going to be coming out with Death Stranding. So those are the two titles for them at the end of the year. So that was disappointing to me, but the gameplay looks awesome, you know, so it kind of counterbalances it. The things that were the highlights was the graphical fidelity. Obviously, Keanu Reeves coming out. He's one of my favorite actors. I think the dude's amazing. I'd love to have a beer with him and just chat. You know, I think the dude's one of the friendliest, most open dudes in entertainment. He's a badass fucking, you know, he knows how to shoot a fucking gun too. It's not just acting. And he's an amazing guy. And the blend of entertainment and is crazy. Gaming and movies and TV actors, it's all coming together. If you can get a guy like Keanu Reeves, the caliber of him, to come and be in a game, like the sky's the limit, right? Because the budgets are skyrocketing. I think Cyberpunk might be the first quadruple A game out there, man. Because damn, if you're getting Keanu Reeves in your game, hell, I mean, and the graphics on that game were face melting. So that was a highlight. And then the graphics on Gears, what I saw of Gears 5 was amazing. And then the Halo reveal was awesome, man. I'm talking about goosebumps, man. They brought it back old school, like Halo 3 style with the music, like the armor. I like the graphics. I like the opening. I like that I wanted to know more about that story because that definitely wasn't happening with Halo 5. So I think it was a pretty good showing overall. I think people built themselves up for failure, if that makes sense. And people took that the wrong way. And I got a lot of DMs and I got attacked for being positive about Microsoft show. And the fact of the matter is if you know the direction of Xbox, you wouldn't be surprised with what's going on with the conference right now, because just because you acquire these studios doesn't mean they're going to be popping out games after a year. You know, like what is the initiative supposed to have a full game ready already? It's not going to happen. And then Playground Games, people thought they were doing a Fable. I said that wasn't happening for various reasons. So people, for a certain extent, they listened to these rumors and then they were let down. And then you know, the Scarlet reveal, we can get into that too. Like I said, if I could talk for 2 hours on the subject, you know.
Yeah, we could do the whole podcast alone could have been done on the Microsoft show alone. I'm trying to break it down as quick as I can. I only have one show a week, but yeah. So no, but it's great. Any final thoughts? Where would you rank the show? I mean, where do you think Microsoft? Obviously, there was, you know, this should have been a show, in my opinion, where like Xbox fans were singing from the temples, and I've heard just as much complaints and just as much sort of ho-hums and that sort of thing as I have, like, you know, way to go Microsoft kind of thing. So and I'll give you my 2 cents on why I think that is in a second. But
I think it's probably the most negative I've seen the community respond to an E3 since I've been on Twitter. So if that tells you where it's at, you know, I've been on Twitter for a long time. I've been on YouTube since 2017 in June. So at least the worst E3 in 3 or 4 years, you know. So for a lot of people, not for me personally.
No, I don't think it was anywhere close to the worst by any means.
Well, trust me, by the barometer that I was getting from Xbox fans and the negativity that I was seeing on social media, and I know that's the hardcore, but that's where I can judge it. I didn't see that last year. I didn't see it the year before that. Everybody was saying it was an awesome E3. This year, it was like the sky was falling, you know. So, to judge it from purely Xbox fans, I've never seen them that disappointed or that pissed. You know, so
Right.
to take it to that level, my personal opinion on it, was it the best E3? No, but like if you can compare it to last year's E3,
Right.
last year's E3 was all smoke and mirrors, man. It was all third party trailers, you know.
Right.
So if you were happy about that, and then you're not happy about this, it's just, I understand it's a year later, but
Mm-hmm.
no, man, it is what it
Yeah.
is.
Vader, how about your? Well, what would you give it on a scale of the 10 scale?
For me or him, okay.
Sophie, you.
Shit, I don't know, like an eight for me.
Yep. And Vader, give us your take on it, bro. What'd you like? What you didn't like? Hopefully, like I said, you might have to skip over a large chunk, but kind of focus on what stood out to you and sort of what let you down.
Absolutely, absolutely. And like you guys said, there's a lot to get into here, so I'll try and condense it. But yeah, if you look at social media, like how everybody was kind of taking in the Xbox conference, it was kind of divisive, you know, like there's a lot of division amongst fans with how to approach it, because I think a lot of people were expecting too much.
Mm-hmm.
And then you see the conference, and people go into these conferences with such hopes and dreams. Heck, you know, I'll admit, like, I try and keep my expectations tempered a lot, but you know, there was some stuff I was expecting that I didn't see. But whatever, we got what we got. And I'll agree with Salty that right off the bat, you know, it was kind of odd to start off with the Outer Worlds, a third party, even though Microsoft did just acquire Obsidian. But the game looks good. I really like the Outer Worlds, and I'm definitely planning on playing that day one. It looks like a beautiful game. It really looks like a reinvigoration of a different take on Fallout, and I'm really stoked to play that. There were some really nice surprises in it, like that Blair Witch game that came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
I was just like, wow. And that like, from what I understand, that's going to be an exclusive of some sort as well. And it comes out really soon.
Mm-hmm.
So like there was some kind of a deal between Microsoft Studios and Team Bloober. So that's exciting. I'm really excited to see how that game turns out. It really, really shocked me when I was like, is this Alan Wake? And then all of a sudden, no. So that's cool. That Double Fine announcement took me by surprise. I mean, well, you know what? It's funny because I was chatting with a few people a few hours before the show. I'm like, well, you know, we should expect some studio announcements. And I did say Double Fine, and lo and behold, I got it right. But you know, it makes sense though, because they're a Kickstarter darling, right? So like, and that's what Obsidian was, that's what In Exile was. So you know, they're going after these studios that they really need the funding. And Double Fine, they're really talented. They produce some very, very unique games.
Yeah.
So I can only imagine what they can do with a much grander funding scale. But otherwise, you know, they had some new announcements. People are like, oh, they showed nothing new. Well, they showed Bleeding Edge. And while I'll admit, like, I'm not really into the whole arena melee combat thing or whatever, the whole Overwatch thing, the game is colorful, looks beautiful, and I can see why a lot of people would like it. And it's something different. So, you know, I might give it a shot, right? And then, yeah, you know, out of nowhere, we got Flight Simulator. I was like, what is this? And they're bringing back Flight Simulator. I know a lot of people are going to be like, oh, you know, it's just Flight Simulator. But, you know, Flight Simulator is kind of a big deal. Like, a lot of people like the whole simulation thing, you know, flying around. And, like, that trailer just looked gorgeous. Whether that was in game or not, I have no idea, but it looked really good. And I'd be excited to play that. And it is coming to Xbox as well and PC. But yeah, I thought, oh yeah, and of course, Halo Infinite at the end there, I was blown away by. Like Salty was saying, you know, it was really tugging on me right at the end there. I was like, it really is bringing back the old Halo feel to me, the old Halo aesthetics, and I'm just so glad that they're going back to that, trying to reinvigorate the brand, because I did feel that in a lot of ways, Halo and 343 had lost their way with it. And now I'm really excited to see where Halo Infinite's going.
Yeah.
But I also have a lot of question marks too about the conference, because, you know, while I am really looking forward to Gears of War 5, Gears 5, whatever you want to call it, like we didn't really see what we wanted to from it, you know? Like we did see that new escape mode, but they just ended up showing up a CG trailer and not actual gameplay at the conference. I mean, I know we have seen gameplay like now, like throughout these little demos, but people really want to see like some kind of an interesting campaign engagement. And we didn't get anything like that.
Yeah.
You know, that's the bread and butter. And like we were talking before the show started, it was like, you know, we're 2 or 3 months away from the release in September. And it's like, well, where is it? When are you going to show it? So it really struck me as odd there. There's other omissions too, like, oh, actually, even before I go to omissions, like they keep showing off Gears Pop. What's with that? Why are they showing off a mobile game at this? I hate it. Like, actually, that's been a kind of a trend at these conferences. Let's show a mobile game. We don't want to see that stuff. Show us proper games.
Yeah.
Oh, what? Like that's just a headache with me. Like the whole Gears Pop thing. Also, no Cuphead DLC was shown. You know, they showed a teaser for that last year. We haven't heard anything there. Where the heck is Gears Tactics? And I'm also kind of a little miffed on Battletoads, to be honest with you.
Good call.
Like, I love Battletoads. I was really excited when we got the announcement for it. And we saw the gameplay for it, and it's been really divisive amongst people. While I like the color palette for it, I don't know if they chose like the right amount of detail or art style in it. Like I don't know, like I could go either way with it. I'll still play it and try it out. I'm not really sure how to take it at this moment.
Yeah.
But overall, if I had to give it a score, Noof, I might have to give it honestly somewhere between like a 6.5 to a 7.
Cool.
I'm like somewhere in between, yeah.
All right, guys. Holla me, Josh Jackson. Prepare yourself because Noof is ready to weigh in on my thoughts from Microsoft E3. Okay, it was Microsoft Xbox E3, or shall I call it the Game Pass show? Because every time they got a chance to tell you it was coming to Game Pass, they did. Which is not a bad thing, guys. If nothing else, they certainly should have made some new believers and new buyers of the Game Pass. It's looking better and better and better every single minute. As a matter of fact, Metro Exodus just came to Game Pass. So and some of the and one thing throughout the show, almost every game they showed off was pretty much coming to Game Pass day one, coming to Game Pass day one. They had some games that were made specifically that looked like they were ready to go into Game Pass. Now let's just start right with the top of the show. Outer Worlds looks really cool. Thought that game was phenomenal. Like I'm definitely interested in it. Like it's a kind of an odd choice to start out the show, but hey, let's spread some spotlight on some of the fantastic developers we've acquired. So at least that game is somewhat close to complete and coming out in the near future. Then we get over to Bleeding Edge, which is an interesting game coming from Ninja Theory. You know, I guess compared to what they've had in the past, but this is the one I don't get, right? Ninja Theory shows a game now, and it's not everybody's cup of tea, and they're getting slammed for it. But, you know, a couple of years ago, Hellblade was getting praised all over the place, and then Hellblade got torn to shreds once it came to Xbox. So the story continues. If it comes out on Xbox, it's trash. But look, I thought the game looked cool. It had a weird and wacky art style. Definitely interesting. Not maybe my cup of tea per se, but give them credit for trying. And if there's one thing that echoed throughout the entire show at Microsoft show was the variety in the games, right? Like almost a lot of them, everything they showed was very different. It was very different from the game they showed 5 minutes earlier. You had RPGs, you had action adventure, you had strategy games, you had JRPGs. I mean, heck, you got Phantasy Star Online is coming out. I think it's on the Xbox first, or maybe even exclusive. I know that's big. In the chat, give a shout out to Stick Freak. Talked about the flight simulator. That was a huge game on PC back in the day. I hope that comes out on Xbox. The graphics were absolutely mind blowing. Like my jaw was on the floor watching that. At first, as soon as I saw it, I wasn't convinced it was Flight Simulator. I was almost thinking it was like a new story-based driven game, like a GTA or something. And then, of course, as they kept showing planes and airports, I was like, oh, this is Flight Simulator. And sure enough, Flight Simulator. So, they're showing a lot of support for they're showing their mobile support. They're showing support for the Game Pass. They're showing support for PC. They got their bases covered. It's an exciting time. Lots of people after E3 have been talking about the Xbox X Cloud as well and how amazing that is, using it with the phone and their their controllers. Southbound was tested, says it's amazing. So kudos to them. There was a lot of things to like about the show. There was a lot of new software out there as well. I guess I love, like, for me, the thing that stood out to me, obviously Keanu Reeves and Cyberpunk. That was number one. That game blew me away from start to finish. As impressed as I was last year, was that much more impressed this year. And having him in the game and come out to talk about it was fucking phenomenal. To get John Wick out on that stage kicking ass was amazing. So that was a big part of it. I guess the baffling parts for me were like I said, Gears were a couple of months out. Gears is my most anticipated game. It is my favorite game on Xbox, period. It even surpasses Halo. And for them to be this close and not show us really anything concrete on the the campaign portion, which is what I'm mostly interested, because I mean, multiplayer is pretty much, we know what we're expecting in a multiplayer. They're going to just switch it up and add some new weapons and a few new game modes. But I wanted to see a little bit about the story, and I didn't get a whole lot other than seeing a big picture of Kate's face on the screen, and she's shaking back and forth. There's like images of people like coming out of her and shit. But you know what I mean? There was a lot of cool stuff. Crossfire, that game, as Z Black Rider mentioned, that looked really cool. There was a lot of really great stuff to see. Halo, I mean, yes, whose hair didn't stand up with Halo? I wasn't completely fond of that sort of like that the trailer that they showed, like it's like, I'm guessing it's a pre-rendered thing, that sort of stuff. And the guy sat there way too long before we saw Master Chief. And it just didn't grab me the way I had hoped it was going to. But overall, the big thing for me was I liked the show. I think in any other year, this Microsoft show would have been considered, outstanding. And for the most part, it was definitely solid. Okay. And this is not damage control. It is what it is. It was a solid show. I mean, fuck you. We were what, over an hour and a half of consistent games. There wasn't a lot of downtime. There wasn't nobody filling up the stage full of BS and boring ass guys talking. It was pretty much start to finish, balls to the wall of games. A exciting time to be an Xbox fan, But what, like I said, the Gears, the way they portray Gears was baffling. It's like they spent more effort putting the fucking monster underneath the stage than they did showing off the game. And then Halo was like, I'm excited, can't wait. Obviously, we got a big AAA game, new Halo coming alongside the new hardware. Let's talk about the new hardware, right? Well, that didn't surprise me nor necessarily disappoint me, because it is what it is. Other than it basically echoed what Sony almost said. We got a solid state hard drive. Loadings are a thing of the past, or very minimal to say the least. And it's going to be our powerful console. But they didn't say it was going to be the most powerful console. It's going to be the most powerful console they've ever built. So there was a lot of perceptions on that. You know what I mean? So overall, like I said, it was a good E3. It's just this was the year, in my opinion, that with Sony not being there, perhaps if Sony was here, I'd think of it differently. But the fact that they weren't at the show, I kind of want to see Microsoft sort of kick them in the junk a little bit. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And that didn't happen. Microsoft just kind of held their own. Now, the reason why, and a lot of people speculate as to this, and there could be a lot of truth behind it. One, we still have Gamescom, right? Before even Gears comes out, we got Gamescom to look forward to. And second of all, I think Microsoft really wants to come in when the next system drops next year. They want to give a lot of people great reasons to go out and buy the Xbox brand and to invest in the ecosystem. And definitely, if they're going to put a $600 or $700 console on the market, I'm speculating it's going to be at least probably that, $499 US, $599, the speculation. Then they're going to want some showcase AAA games to show alongside of it. They've obviously got Halo. Gears will be about a year old by then, but they've got the Halo, and hopefully, I don't expect we'll see anything from the Initiative next year, right? That studio is still putting its pieces together.
Still pretty far off, yeah.
Yeah, but there's a lot of other stuff, and obviously we know that Ninja Theory's got more in the pipeline than just the Bleeding Edge or whatever, right? So there's a lot of things. I highly suspect that Rare is probably miles ahead into their next game. You can't say that they've been, all this time just focusing on Sea of Thieves, right? So, like I said, there's a lot to like. It wasn't that I didn't like anything per se. I just wanted them to come out a little heavier, and it felt like a misstep, right? Maybe like it was a hold back and let's wait and see what Sony does. But the other side of the coin, and you got to listen to Xbox fans. It's been how many years now since Microsoft technically came out and unveiled like their first party stuff, really, right? And the games that they show, like I said, Bleeding Edge is coming out. Is that a Microsoft exclusive, that one?
Yeah.
Because Outer Worlds is going multi-plat, right? and there's a few other games that I think are going multi-plat, right? You even got Minecraft Dungeons, which is going multi-plat. So that sort of thing. So for me, guys, I'm just going to leave it there because, like I said, I could go on all night. Biggest disappointment was obviously Gears, just because I wanted to see more of my favorite game, and that's just a me thing, right? That's a me problem. But we'll see enough in due time. It's still my most anticipated game. That hasn't changed. That's a day one buy for me. Nothing's going to change my mind. So I think that was the biggest thing for me. That sort of stuff. So overall, I'm going to say it was about 7.5 to maybe almost an 8. So it was a really good show. It was solid. I just wanted to see it a little bit more, or at least the way that they showed certain things, a little bit more in the gameplay, a little less on the pre-rendered CGI stuff. It felt like we were watching a Sony show, kind of, with Microsoft's more flair for keeping the show going, where Sony has a tendency to kind of have these boring lulls and boring people talking, whereas Microsoft has a great presentation, but it felt like a Sony show, like we're watching all these pre-rendered CGI things, right? So, yeah.
The thing is like, if you look at like the rest of the E3 conferences, that's like the way these publishers are going, man. Like, there's been very little gameplay and there's been lots of trailers for whatever reason. And it's weird because if you like rewind back to previous E3s, a lot of people have been like, oh my God, this gameplay was like cringe, like who's playing these games? We need to see more of this and that. It just seems like it flip-flops year to year. Like there's too much talking, or this is too boring, or there's too much gameplay, there's too little gameplay. There's Sony has a guy playing a flute. Why doesn't Microsoft have one? They have dead bodies in the rafters. Why doesn't Microsoft have
I think part of the reason is because the games are so complex. They take so long to build now. And basically, if you're going to show off a demo for E3, it's not something that you can put together like 3 days beforehand. These generally take almost a full year, if not at least a couple of months, for teams to put together, what they call a representative chunk of their games. And I think overall it's just safer to go with pre-rendered stuff, because basically what you're doing then is just playing a video to the screen. There's nobody down below having to worry about a server crash or a bug coming up at the last second, or the game's graphics are, again, obviously close to the more like the alpha stage or whatever, and people starting to go, well, they look at the graphics and go, well, that looks like absolute, because you know what I mean, right? People trash gameplay even faster than the pre-rendered stuff, because with that, you can't really say anything, right? Almost everything pre-rendered looks fucking amazing. You're just like, whoa, right? But at the same time, it's like CGI. So I think that might be part of it. It's safer to play it like that, just to pique people's interest, and then show off stuff later on.
Yeah, because if you look at it, like Z Black Rider was saying, trailers don't have technical difficulties, because how embarrassing is it when you have this, presentation and something goes wrong, right? A controller doesn't work, or
look at the shit that happened with Gabe Newell at fucking Valve there a couple months back. Remember, this shit went up, and I bet he like fucking tore people a new one because they looked bad on stage.
Yeah, shitstorm. So you got to think about the pressure these dudes are under. But I like the theatrics that they were doing. I like the shit that they were doing for Gears, and like going under the stage and setting the scene. And I thought it did look like more of like a Sony conference, man, to be honest. Like, I think overall, we'll talk about the other conferences, but these presentations are getting more like the Oscars, man. You see some of the lighting and the way that they're presenting shit. Like, we're seeing movie stars out on stage. Like, this shit's it's changing. Let's just put it that way.
Let's give a big shout out to the chat before we move on. Let's Distracted by OLED. What's going on? Antonio Alessio, how you doing, sir? Let's see who else we got, because we got a lot of new people there. Johnny the Truth Teller, what's happening, Johnny? We've got who else did I miss here? Iceman LMH is in the chat. What's going on, Ice, my Gears of War brother? There was a few other people here earlier. Nightwolf 3186, how you doing? Thanks for stopping by, checking out. Brian F, what's up, brother? Thanks for stopping by and checking out the show. I think I've caught back up on everybody right now. Crazy Greek Dude is here. What's going on? Ashtray Gaming's in the house. Stick Fig is still hanging out with us, even though he's on a different time zone. We got Supersonic Station. Got a love for our boy Supersonic. He's a good fucking dude, and yeah, he got some cool videos and stuff too. Sometimes he's a little hard on Microsoft, but he means well. I think sometimes
he keeps us honest.
I think sometimes the hardest fans of Microsoft are its biggest fans. And it doesn't mean it's right. It's just that when you're so passionate about a product or a particular thing, it's easier to get disappointed. You know, your expectations go above and beyond the average gamer because they don't really care, they don't know, and that's probably better off at the end of the day. But for any of us who follow this and live this stuff, sometimes, like I said, you know, a big announcement for us is small for someone else, or a small announcement for us is a big announcement. You know what I mean? That's just the way it goes. Abacab, what's going on, man? I have a misspelling in the title. Yes, probably with the word delivered. But hey, what can I say, man? uh, yeah, it ain't all about the spelling. All right, go easy on me now. All right. So for me, like I said, I give it about an 8. Let's kind of move along because we got a lot.
When I read your title, I thought it said "whose balls dropped first." Anyway, my eyes deceived me. You know.
Oh, E3. Oh, 2018. Jesus Christ, my God. Yeah, we're time traveling here. What the fuck? No wonder.
Right.
2018. Whose balls dropped first?
Good pick up there, Abacab. I didn't even notice that. My God, I'm traveling back in time. Okay, I'm gonna have to fix that one. Yeah, but anyway, let's move along because we got a lot of stuff to get into. Next show was considered pretty good. Yeah, I've had a rough day today, guys, so bear with me. Primal couldn't make it, guys. She was having technical trouble. She said she tried to get in, but was having trouble. I don't know. Earlier, some other people were complaining about the Google stuff, so maybe I don't know. Maybe it's an East Coast thing. I don't know, but she does apologize. Hopefully, she'll be back next week. Middle-aged game guy, what's going on, brother? But let's talk about Bethesda. Bethesda came out, and Bethesda, in their usual style, came out kind of swinging. You know, they come out. One thing I give Bethesda, man, like they do come out sort of with a little bit of gumption, you know, and I guess that's very representative of the games that they make. Because if you look at Bethesda stuff, their games, they're generally more gritty, aggressive, darker, more mature. They basically, you know, and they'll say it up on stage, probably don't give a fuck. You know, they throw on a lot of fucks up on their stage. You know, but they had some cool stuff. I know people lost their panties when they showed Doom Eternal. You know, I'm actually absolutely happy to see that they're kind of sticking with Fallout a little bit, not completely giving up on 76, although the Battle Royale thing, Salty's going to weigh in that in a second, let me tell you. That's what we'll start. We'll start with Salt again on this one. Give us your take on Bethesda, man, what you thought. And I know you had some interesting thoughts because I watched your video when Bethesda, and when they came out, you're like, nah, oh my God, you know, it's like they are. It was fucking funny. Go ahead, man.
Here's the deal, man. Too much mobile shit. Like that's the first thing that stood out for me. Like they talked about Elder Scroll Blades again, which is a mobile game, but it's coming to the Switch, so that kind of saved it. It's ass for me because I have a Switch and I'll pick it up. It's free. If it's free, I'll take 3. Yeah, the mobile shit, man. Put that away and throw it away, man. I'm tired of seeing it. But they had some cool shit. But yeah, the Fallout 76 stuff, you know, Todd Howard, he knows how to spin stuff. Let's just put it that way. He's like the best used car salesman out there. So he's not going to shy away. He's like, yeah, we had some problems. Yeah, that's saying it lightly, right? But yeah, the fact that they're sticking with Fallout 76 is cool. I was almost semi expecting it to go free to play or something, man. I don't know. But then they're kind of going balls to the wall with that game and saying it's the most engaged game online and all these other buzzwords. But yeah, like they're gonna do year 2 with free DLC, the Wastelanders, and then that battle royale shit was just so cringe, man. I think they win the biggest cringe moment of E3. I think when they revealed that shit, I thought it was a joke. I thought I was getting punked. But no, it's real. They're having a battle royale in Fallout 76 for some fucking reason. Like why? Like the gunplay in Fallout's not even that good. But then you're gonna put a 52-man battle royale in there. My God, dude. But it is what it is with that. Lots of mobile. The Ghostwire Tokyo thing made me as confused as Death Stranding, but it looked cool. And the girl that came out there, she was really awesome. I thought she was amazing. What else? Wolfenstein Youngblood looked pretty good.
Girl easy on the eyes, wasn't it?
Oh yeah, dude. She started a Twitter account and it's like blowing it up, man. Everybody loves her. It was like Keanu and that girl, whatever her name is. They're both awesome. Death, dope. Right? I mean, damn, I don't even know what that game is about. It has shooting and first-person shooting, and assassins and trying to kill each other, I'm all about that. And then Doom Eternal like blew my fucking face off. So yeah, I think they had a pretty good showing. They know how to like. They have this like appeal to them, like the jokes they tell, the f-bombs they drop, like they don't give a fuck. I mean, I like Bethesda, dude.
And no tacky bands this year.
Yeah,
right
no band. That was that punk band last year. Oh my god.
Except for this year, they had a guy going, yeah,
yeah.
Like one guy in the whole place, yeah.
Book a flight to California and find that dude. Jesus Christ.
He must have came from Canada. He was probably high in the ganj.
Yeah.
So, yeah, he would have been a hell of a lot quieter, right? He would have been like, yeah. Oh man. What game stood out to you? Like, is there anything from Bethesda stage that you're just like, holy shit? Because I know there was a couple for me. I just got to look up the names of them.
Doom just looks amazing. I mean, what can you say about Doom? And then the graphical fidelity on that game, the Assassin's game, whatever it's called, the what is it called? Deathloop. Is that what
it's Death? Yep. Yes, I think it was Deathloop.
So those games were cool, and then the fact that we didn't, they said this before, but we weren't going to see any Skyrim, Elder Scrolls, or Starfield. We didn't really see any of those because those are far out, and it is what it is. They had a good conference, I think. So
absolutely. Invader, well, what would you give their conference out of 10?
Well, the thing is, like, to me, it started off with a lot of lows and then jumped up with a lot of highs because of Doom and a few other things. Their conference, I might give a 7. I did really enjoy it towards the end, like Doom. Oh, what else was there? Ghostwire really caught my eye. It's so mysterious and creepy. It's made by the guy Tango Works, or Tango Game Works, the guys that did The Evil Within, so it's up my alley. That Rage 2 stuff with the mechs, like that looked pretty cool. I don't know. Like, did you guys see that special edition that they unveiled for Doom, like with the wearable helmet? Like, that looks so cool. I mean, it's pricey, but hey, at least they got it right.
Yeah.
And Deathloop, you know what? It's really interesting. I like the art style, and it's very, like, to me, it's very engaging, very interesting. It catches my eye, but I want to learn more because, again, like, we're being very heavily CGI'd here, and I can understand why they want to do that, but at the same time, I want to see some actual gameplay at some point, So no, it's cool. Like, I thought they did okay, just the way that they started out with like, woo, yeah, and they showed, talking about blades and sort of like not really apologizing for the Fallout 76 fiasco, and then adding the NPCs. Like, it got kind of weird at the beginning, but then like it definitely got better towards the end. So
yeah.
So yeah, 7, solid 7.
Solid 7. Okay. And for me, like I said, it was pretty good. Like they didn't have a lot of games that they showed off that I just went Like most everything caught my attention. Like I said, Deathloop was definitely a big highlight from Arcane Studios. I love the look and presentation of that game, the character design stuff that was happening. Like I said, that other game as well, Ghostwire Tokyo, looks very, very interesting as well. I'm excited, obviously, for Wolfenstein Youngblood, because I love the Wolfenstein games, and I'm really excited that the fact that one's coming out for the Switch. It's coming out on Xbox, PC, all the stuff's coming on all the consoles. But the fact that it's co-op, right? And I've always said, like, this Wolfenstein game is so fun, but it'd be even, it could take it to an 11 if you could play with a friend. So that's kind of cool, and it's coming out real soon, I think. So I'm excited about it, but I'm not as excited about that as I was, the original Wolfenstein 2, right? The new Colossus. It's like anything, when stuff comes out like too close together, especially when the graphics are kind of mirrored, and let's say even like this Doom Eternal, right? Like, it's not that long ago we got Doom, and as much as I felt like, wow, this game looks really cool, I was also kind of going, well, it's Doom. So if you're like a huge Doom fan, and you couldn't get enough of the first game, you're probably already, like I said, jizzing your pants for this one. But if you're kind of on the fence where I was. Like, I like that game, but there's something about it as well. Like, just, you know, it was never high on my radar, kind of thing. So for me, it was kind of like, okay, it's Doom Eternal, but it's more Doom. It looks pretty much the same as the last game with more monsters, bigger guns, a bit more, you know, kick-ass shit. So overall, the show was cool. Glad to see they're like I said, going to support Fallout 76, because obviously there was potential with the game, but I think it launched too early. They were so eager to get it out. They didn't really test it. They charged people $80 to test it, essentially is what happened. You know, sort of thing. Well, yeah, Doom was, Crazy Greek says it was 2016. So I guess it is time for a new Doom, but at the same time, you know, it's like, you look at the Halo games, right? When the Halo games come out, while there's still Halo, they feel and kind of look vastly different from the last one. Whereas this Doom kind of looks almost like if you said it was DLC, nobody probably would have knew the difference. But anyway, let's give a shout out to the chat. We got Chris Levi up in here. What's going on, Chris Levi? Is anyone else new here that I haven't mentioned yet? It's my boy. Yeah, it's your boy, Matty P. What's going on, Matty? I think that's Matty, who's I'm not sure if that's Matty is in Def Jam's nephew, but yeah, so there's a few cool games like that. I mean, a pretty good show. I'm going to say, like I said, for them, like a solid 7, because like a lot of the games they showed were games that we also saw last year. We just saw more of them, and kudos to them. Bethesda is one of the best for actually showing gameplay. And I was actually excited and salty. I think you mentioned this as well in your video, and I'm actually excited for it now. Remember when they introduced Elder Scrolls Blades, and they said it was mobile, and you're kind of like, you know, and then all of a sudden they go, but it's coming to Switch, and I heard you go, I'm actually think I might buy that now, you know, and plus it's free. So then I was like, yeah, fuck, I'm down with that. I'll try it out, especially if it's free.
Mm-hmm.
That was cool. That was kind of cool, right? So if you're an Elder Scrolls fan, you got to Switch. That'll be a great little game to play on it as well. Borderlands 3 is looking really, really good. Let's get along, because boy, we got a lot of big conferences still yet to cover. Let's move along from that one. Everybody got their 2 cents word in here, right? Everybody kind of Invader.
Yeah.
Okay. So what was after that? I think we're now getting ready to Square Enix, right? That what kind of came out, or that one, or was it Ubisoft? Ubisoft, right?
Ubisoft, then Square Enix.
Yeah, let's do Ubisoft first. Ubisoft, probably the most reformed turnaround company in the last few years. It seems like everything they're doing now, they're hitting it out of the park. So I'll start with Invader's opinion on this one. Basically, I like the show for the most part. Lots of cool stuff in there as well. Invader, what did you think of Ubisoft show? What stood out to you, and what do you feel they did wrong, and if anything, what do you think?
Well, I thought it was all right. I'm not like the biggest Ubisoft guy out there, but definitely, I mean, a lot of the chatter was for Watch Dogs Legion. And yeah, you know what? It's definitely a different take for the Watch Dogs series. It caught my eye with you know, the style that they're going in, the post-Brexit London, and a huge emphasis on drones and stuff. Like, no, it does look like a very interesting game, and I can't wait to see more gameplay for it. Caught a bit more of the new Ghost Recon Breakpoint, I believe, and that looked pretty cool. There was some, actually, you know what? I was shocked that, you know, games that are still being supported, like Rainbow Six, like, you know, we were getting some new add-on content for that as well. The Quarantine, I believe it's called, and that looked pretty cool. I'm glad that they're still supporting that game. That Gods and Monsters game,
Yeah.
that actually, you know what? It does look really interesting. Another like cinematic trailer, but that definitely caught my eye. I love the colors for it. Like, I'm a big fan of colorful games. And yeah, you know, that's cool. I like mythology, Greek mythology and all that jazz. So I'll definitely take a look into that. One game that I wasn't really sure on, I'm not sure how I feel about Roller Champions, you know, that roller derby game. Not really too huge on that. Like, that's me personally. Like, I'm not big on those types of games, but I don't know, it'd be nice to see some actual gameplay for that. But otherwise, one thing was there's like some omissions there, you know, like we've been hearing stuff about Splinter Cell, and that never came to fruition. What else? Not like that, but we didn't see any Beyond Good and Evil 2, did we?
No. No, they announced it a few weeks back that they were going to show it for whatever freaking reason.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
that has me worried for that game. You know, a lot of people looking forward to that, including me. I know that they announced it, but it's one of those things where that's something that should be showing off. So I am kind of worried about that. And then otherwise, they announced their own version of EA Access, I guess. The was it the
Pass, is it?
yeah, the UB Pass. Yeah, that's correct. And or no, Uplay Plus. That's what it's called, for like $15 a month. So you know, more companies getting in on the membership stuff, and you know, to me, $15, you know, Xbox Game Pass does a much better job for the price. So I don't know how many people are actually going to get into that for their library of games, but you know, that's interesting. I don't know, overall, I thought it was okay. I'm just not huge on Ubisoft games personally.
Yeah.
I don't know what grade I would give it. Maybe, I don't know, maybe in a 6.5 for me.
6.5. All right, Salty, over to you, sir. Yes, all beefs aside with the reason they knocked out your channel, but give us your take, brother. What's going on?
Bro, I'm sorry, I'm too salty right now. 0 out of 10. Fuck them. They don't deserve any of my thoughts on their games right now. So sorry.
All right.
Nice.
Nobody's going to plead the Fifth Amendment on this one, since Ubisoft kind of done dirty on this thing. Well, like I said, Watch Dogs, you know what? I was never interested much in this Watch Dogs franchise, but I will say they caught my attention with this one. It looks very interesting. The whole recruiting people aspect looks really cool. And I was watching Salty's take on this game, like I said, up until this video got pulled down. And I loved his reaction to the old granny. Old granny gets to fucking beat the shit out of people and stuff. It was hilarious. So the game has potential. If you're Watch Dogs fans, I think you should be excited for this one. You know, it's kind of amazing that they have another Watch Dogs this kind of close. Considering it was only a year or so ago that, you know, Watch Dogs 2 came out, and I wasn't even sure we were going to get a Watch Dogs 2, because I don't think the first Watch Dogs was as well received as we thought it would be. I think it was one of the most heavily returned and traded in games shortly after it came out. But I mean, as far as the whole show, thank God they kind of give Assassin's Creed a bit of a rest. I don't think there was anything there Assassin's Creed related. I don't think. They're still pushing Rainbow Six Siege, which is kind of cool that they're still into that. You know, so far, I'm gonna have to go with Invader. I think the most impressive game they showed for me was Gods and Monsters. It looked a little bit like Breath of the Wild, kind of give me that vibe, that feeling. So maybe that's Ubisoft's sort of take on that sort of action adventure genre in the vein of Breath of the Wild, which would probably be a good thing. Let's just hope that this person has a little bit more stamina than Link, and I'll be happy. But otherwise, like I said, their show was decent. They went across the board with a lot of different things. Maybe some DLC. Okay, I might have missed that or just wasn't paying attention. Yeah, and they talked with Division 2 and a few different things like that. So what else did they show off? Oh yeah, Ghost Recon. And I gotta say, guys, Ghost Recon is actually, the more I see of this game, the less I am fucking excited for it. I am sorry. I love Ghost Recon, and I really liked Wildlands, but this one is pissing me off. Okay, it was bad enough that they talked about now you gotta fucking eat shit and do whatever, like survival aspects put in the game. And okay, I was getting ready to stomach that. But then they show off footage and you're picking up fucking weapons, aka the Division. Like, you got purple guns on the ground now. Like, it's every effing game we're gonna play now gonna have fucking weapon levels in it and add-ons and skins and shit. Like, get rid of that shit. Look, it has its time and its place, but not every game needs to copy every game. You know, Ubisoft doesn't need to take the template from one game now and run it through every other bloody game. Like that just drove. As soon as I see that, I was like, all right, Ghost Recon just lost me, because now they're trying to make Ghost Recon more like freaking The Division. Like, they should be separate games. They should look and feel like separate games. You know what I mean? That's what I'm saying. Get rid of the bullshit. Just make the game tactical. Like, go back to your roots and make Ghost Recon feel like the Advanced Warfare series. This is what I'm saying. Go back to that. I'll be super happy. But you guys are taking this in a weird direction. Some people are fucking loving it. Lootersoft, great one. Kiwi Overkill. Kiwi Overkill. I wonder if that's like a knockoff name of Kiki over whatever the hell their name is from Microsoft. Yeah, for me, man, I'm just like I said, for Ubisoft, I'll say 7 maybe. It was decent. It didn't exactly blow any minds this year, but it was decent and more of the same and a little bit here and there, right? So okay, next one's going to be a big one. Square Enix. Some people I've heard love this show. The fans are super excited and into it. They were screaming half the way through. I don't know. For me, I'll save my opinion for a second here. I wasn't impressed with it near so much. But all right, let's who wants to start it first? Invader, Salty, give us your take on Square Enix. What you like, what you didn't like, what your rating is overall. Salt, you want to start us out since you didn't get to talk on Ubisoft?
Yeah. All right. So, not a big Final Fantasy dude. So, I mean, the game looks good, but I don't really have any, as they say, I'm not even say the saying because people get triggered about it. But yeah, it's not my bag. So it looks good. So yeah, on that, the Avengers game, what in God's earth were they thinking? All right, here's the deal. It was like a CGI trailer, but I'm a big comic book fan, and damn, that shit looked whack. The character models look horrible. Black Widow looks like a dude, and the voice acting was cringe, and Thor looks like a bum picked up some old cosplay and he got into the game, dude. I swear to God, dude. So this shit, I don't know, man. It did not do it for me. I was trying to let it do it for me, but yeah, Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3 like looked amazing when I saw it. First reaction for this is like, really? You guys took all this time for this shit? Because we didn't even see gameplay for that, but like it's a big thing to me, like the way the characters look. And like Captain America looked fine, and Iron Man, it's hard to mess him up because he's just Iron Man. But like the way that they did the character models, man, not a fan. And then just the story in general is kind of weird for me. So yeah, that's probably, those were supposed to be the highlights for Square Enix. And honestly, the rest of it I could give two shits about. So 3 out of 10 for me.
3 out of 10. There you go from Salty, man. He kept it short and sweet. Great take on that, Salt, and definitely one I'm sure lots of people will disagree with, probably in the Avengers, but everybody is entitled to their take and their opinion on it. Vader, you kick us off, bro. What do you think?
Well, it's interesting because, we all tune into stuff that we're really excited for, that, we go to these different conferences because we're like, oh yeah, we're gonna probably like what we see. And because we like the games that these publishers develop, and these guys are known for like JRPGs, RPGs, and so on. So if that's not your bag, if that's not your thing, then of course you're not going to be hyped for it. For me, like I don't mind them, but like this conference was not something that I was personally looking forward to. So, but when I saw the Final Fantasy VII remake, I'm like, oh, this is gorgeous. They've done a really good job with it. I have friends who are like dying over it, like, oh my God, I'm so impressed. Me, I was just like, oh, okay, that's nice. I think it has a release date now, which is very nice for a lot of people. And yeah, there were some nice tidbits there. The Last Remnant Remastered was there. I remember that game from last gen, so that's pretty cool. Yeah, that Avengers game is really throwing everybody off. I saw the trailer for that. Like, the action in it I thought was pretty cool, but I'll admit I'm not into the comics as much as Salty. But, I really appreciate when they try to stay true to the characters, to the original form that they were presented in the original source material. And when I saw like Black Widow and Tony Stark and whatnot, I was just like, and just other characters there, I was like, well, they don't really look like, they have like these really bland faces. I'm like, well, couldn't you guys spruce them up a little bit? Like, they have people like going over these trailers, like, dissecting them. Oh, does this look good to show, to unveil? And it's just like, how could they not catch that? So, I thought the ball was dropped there, but hey, a lot of people are just excited for an Avengers game, and I don't blame them.
Right.
I just, hope that they do some upgrades in that department and they take everybody's feedback. But otherwise, there was a lot of RPGs here, a lot of JRPGs. One
Right.
that I was surprised about though was the team behind Bulletstorm and Gears of War Judgment. People Can Fly. They
Outright.
announced our Outriders, which is another shooter, but I think it's like an online shooter if I'm not mistaken. And not a lot was really said about it, but it's like some kind of a story-driven shooter in like I don't know, a sci-fi, like I want to say like almost apocalyptic world, but not a lot was really given about it. Not a lot of gameplay. Actually, it was just a CGI trailer from the looks of it, but it looked kind of cool. But like, I have to see more of it. But otherwise, I don't know. I'd probably give it, like, to me, guys, I would probably give this conference a 4. Like, I wasn't really interested to begin with, but there wasn't really a lot for me there.
Yeah. Same here. Like again, that's where, like I said, one man's treasure is another man's trash, and vice versa, right? For some people, especially if you happen to be a JRPG fan, especially if you're a Final Fantasy fan, sure, this show was pretty cool. You finally got to see some legitimate gameplay of Final Fantasy VII, which color me very, very interested. It's definitely on my radar. I would like to play it, especially considering that I actually like Final Fantasy 15, which is the first Final Fantasy game I've actually really ever dived into, simply because the graphics, the way the story is presented, and the fact that it's a game now that more action lovers can get involved in instead of the turn-based stuff from the older Final Fantasy games. So color me very interested. The game looks pretty cool, pretty amazing so far. I like that. But let's go down through a list of some of their games as well. Final Fantasy VII, like I said, looks really good to me. Interested. Dying Light 2, that looks really good. I'm sure that's going to be a hot game when it comes out. A lot of people love the first one. Outriders, that was probably my surprise game from this conference, because I didn't expect to see this one coming at all. And it does look really cool, even though a lot of it was CGI, but the weapons are really cool. And also, if the trailers are any indication, it could be a 3-player co-op first-person shooter, which would be awesome. They had a really cool-looking monster alien or something at the end. There's a bit of a mysterious game, kind of odd and weird, kind of reminds you a little bit of Death Stranding in that sense. Last Remnant Remastered, that one is coming for the Switch. Dragon Quest Builders 2, Dragon Quest XI, like blah. I looked at those and was like, yeah, if you're into them, great. If you're not, Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles Remastered Edition coming out for PS4, Nintendo Switch, apparently. A lot of these games, too. Notice there was a lot of these omitted from the Xbox lineup, which is quite weird. So not a lot of love shown to Square Enix for Xbox, that's for sure. Oninaki, Square Enix Collective, Kingdom Hearts Remind, so an expansion for Kingdom Hearts, Final Fantasy 14, Shadowbringers, some sort of stuff there for an expansion for that. So, like I said, they had some cool looking games. They showed some gameplay. It was a fairly brisk show for the most part. There's a couple, like I said, that stole the show, and there's a couple that were kind of so I'm with you. Again, for me, it was kind of a more of a 6. And as far as Marvel Avengers, for me, I liked it. I wasn't as hard on it as Salty, for sure. I was definitely interested. It's kind of weird because if you look at the costumes and stuff, right, and the way stuff is presented, it's clearly like they're borrowing from the movie aspect of Avengers, not straight out of the comic side of things, right? But then the faces, like I said, there's just kind of weird looking faces. It was all pre-rendered stuff that didn't look amazing yet. I'm guessing what they were said is their interpretation. What he meant to say was, we couldn't afford the budget of these big name actors to come in. Plus, they're probably busy as hell, so we couldn't get the mocap and couldn't really do the full likenesses of them. So let's come as close as we can, and then go from there. The Thor looked kind of odd to me. I don't know. Like, I'll agree. The best one was obviously Captain America. He looked kind of cool. Tony Stark, like, his hair was a little longer and he had a full beard instead of more of the chin whisker. But yeah, I don't know.
Real quick.
Yeah.
Sorry to cut you off, man. I think that's the problem to me, because like you either need to do one or another, you know what I'm saying? Because like Captain America literally looks like he's cut out of the movie with his outfit. He has it full mask on and suit on. But then the Black Widow, like you're saying, it's like, and then Thor, it's like, are you guys going with the movie look or this cosplay broke down found it on the street, looked for Thor, and then what throws you off is like half of them are wearing movie outfits, and then the faces look all fucked up, and then the voices are different. That's what threw me off, honestly. So I was like, if they would have just went straight comic book with the looks and the style and everything, and not try to take from the movie, which they were doing, I think I would have been more accepting of it, because that's what Marvel Ultimate Alliance is doing. They just kind of just go with the comic book look, and it's not really trying to look realistic. So it's like them trying to go realistic with the look, and then having different people and different, I don't know. It just threw me off, man.
Thanks for the love, Chris Levi. I appreciate that, man. Yes, hit the like button, share it out, guys. Appreciate each and every one of you for being here with us. You guys are fantastic. Great opinions from everybody here. Yeah, I totally agree, Salty. It's like go with one or the other, but sort of that in between is kind of weird. And based on the game has been in development for all this time, like I think we could have seen a better representation of where this game is going. Outside of obviously, there's some crap, trying to take over New York again, and there's some technology on the ship and blah blah blah. Like I said, it's almost too early to say. Yeah. Oh, and on top of that, I have to start wondering: is what's his name? Nolan North and Troy Baker. Are they the only two guys?
I was thinking the same thing, bro.
Because when they came out and did the shit after, are you like? I was like, come on. Like, I like those guys. Don't get me wrong. I'm sure lots of us do, but there's got to be hundreds of voice actors in Hollywood, and somebody outside of those two guys could do some freaking voices. Now, mind you, kudos. They had what's her name there? The girl. Is that the one who did? She's the one who does Kate, isn't it? In Gears of War. I'm almost positive the girl.
It's weird because the voice actors for cartoons and video games, they're like the same, man. I hear the same dude. He does Captain America in it's like the newest cartoon for Avengers, and then he's in Dying Light. I hear this dude everywhere. So yeah, like does voice actors, do they like? Is there a shortage of really good voice actors? Because I hear the same dudes.
Because every time I start to watch a video game now, I'm thinking, oh, Nathan Drake is in this one again. Because at the end of the day, that's pretty much what he sounds like. He's like, hey, Nathan Drake is another character. Nathan Drake is because it's not like he does different variants of his voice. It's kind of like, hey, I'm Nolan North. And you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. That's the way I look at it. It's just like, geez, guys, like give us a break. Let those two guys have a break and hire some new people. There's got to be some more voice actors in freaking Los Angeles than those two. They're good and all. Don't get me wrong, but come on, like, geez, give us a break. But anyway, as far as I'm concerned, like I said, I thought it was decent, but it wasn't, it wasn't the be all end all. I heard people saying it was the best part of the show. Again, if it was for you, then great. Obviously, they showed off the kind of games that you wanted to see. As for me, it was what it was. I mean, Avengers obviously is a highlight for most people. I think they'll take away from that, but I want to see more of it before, I kind of make a final judgment on that game. So, yeah. And of course, another thing with that as well, Sony getting the exclusive content for that game right out the box. So stuff that may or may not ever come to the Xbox version. So that's quite interesting. Sony really going all in, buying all the fucking shit for these superhero games. So you know what I would do, Microsoft, but you won't, because the people in your fucking game department don't have the balls to do it. Let's get another big fucking superhero game and make it exclusive to your platform and say, fuck you guys. You don't play nice, so we ain't gonna play nice either. But that ain't gonna happen. I would put Superman on my fucking shit and say, eat it. But no, they won't do that shit. But anyway, I'm going off on a different tangent. Yeah, he does some different voices, Abacab, but mostly he does kind of sound like the same shit. You know what I mean? E-Man Diaz, what's going on, brother? What's happening? Thanks for stopping by, checking out the show. Guys, again, I do apologize that Primal isn't here with us. She had technical difficulties. I'm assuming she never got them worked out because she hasn't shown up. So this isn't as gaming after dark as we're used to. Certainly not as much of the sexual innuendo, but you know what, guys, we just got too much shit to fucking talk about tonight to be talking about dicks and vages and all the rest of that stuff up in here. So no tight holes in here tonight. Plus there's 3 guys in here, guys. So we start going it's gonna get fucking weird,
my dude, but
these guys are my dudes too. But last time I checked, we ain't swinging in that direction.
You're my boy, Noof. You're my boy.
E3 wasn't that bad that we're so depressed we're just turning coat here. So Jeez. All right. But anyway, Square Enix is done. Let's get into who else was after Square. We did Ubisoft Square. So is it Nintendo?
Nintendo.
I guess so.
Nintendo. All right, might as well finish the show pretty much on Nintendo. We'll give some final thoughts, all that good shit. Nintendo. Now, this one, personally, this one caught my attention. This was much better than I had actually even anticipated. Well, I'll start with you on this one, Invader, because I'm sure Salty's going to jump in knowing that Salty does actually play the fucking Switch. Unlike some people that have a Switch, like myself, who don't play it that much, but Salty does play his quite a bit. He's definitely a Switch connoisseur. But let's get your take on it, Invader. Because Invader, did you ever buy a Switch or no?
Yeah, I have a Switch.
Okay, sweet. I didn't know you had one. Wasn't sure. Did you get that recently, or did you have it all along?
I've had it since Mario Odyssey, so yeah, I guess
Okay.
2 years.
All right, so at least you can chime in and actually have weight in terms of your perception, because if you own a Switch, you're obviously more excited for the games coming to it than if, well, I like Nintendo, but I don't own a Switch. I can't see one, and then you're trying to talk on it. It's just kind of weird. But give us your take on the show, man. I thought it was pretty cool, but go ahead.
You know what? Nintendo's directs, E3 directs, or just any direct, they're always very to the point. You could say they're very direct. And you know what? I really enjoyed their conference, what they did, even with the little banter at the beginning with Bowser and that new guy Bowser at the beginning, just like it has a little bit of Nintendo charm, But yeah, they had some really, really cool announcements that come out, even for games that we know about, like Luigi's Mansions 3. They showed off gameplay for that, like an extensive amount of gameplay, and I was just like really, really impressed. It's very reminiscent of the old school Luigi's Mansion, but you get looks like there's going to be some co-op aspects to it as well, and just the different dimensions of they're adding some stuff to the combat. The mansion looks pretty cool to explore with all the ghosts around. And yeah, it gets me pumped. I think that's scheduled for later this year, if I'm not mistaken. That mech game, Daemon X Machina, that they announced last year, that they have like a couple of missions to try out on the Switch already. I am definitely going to pick that up in September. That looks cool. It's a really cool looking, like stylized, really colorful mech game. That really, really blew me away. What else? Oh yeah, they announced. I don't know if anybody here played. I mean, I know Salty played Breath of the Wild, so did I, and they announced that they're working on a Breath of the Wild 2, a sequel to that. And just the fact that they're working on it, that kind of blew everybody away. So I'm keeping my eye on that. They had they had a lot of third party there too. Doom Eternal's gonna be on the Switch. The Witcher 3, that was pretty big. The Witcher 3, a huge, graphical powerhouse like that's going to be compact into the Switch. It's going to be heavily downgraded, but it's still impressive that they're going to fit this big, massive open world game there.
Wow. Is that going to come on one cartridge or two?
7.
To pull all in and out of your thing is a little bag of cartridges. Oh, you got a big collection of this just one game.
Yeah. They had a lot of stuff there. They showed off again gameplay for Platinum Games' Astral Chain, which looked very, very dynamic. Lots of gameplay there as well. I'll admit I can't remember the story off by hand, but just like the movement and the action in that game, it's just very, very telling. Actually, now that I think about it, there was a lot of omissions too from Nintendo. Like they didn't talk about Bayonetta 3. There was no, we all know that Metroid Prime Trilogy is going to come out. They just haven't announced it yet because there was leaked box art. And they were missing a few things, but they had some really cool announcements for I know I'm not into it, but I know a lot of people really enjoy this franchise, Animal Crossing. That's a huge franchise for them.
I think Bloody Knuckles just lost his shit when he saw that, didn't he? Didn't he say one of the last podcasts he saw these if Animal Crossing comes out or something?
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, people genuinely love that game, and hey, it's a colorful world. I'll admit it's not for me, but I know people that are just diehards into that. They lose all kinds of time into that. You know, Tom Nook is always on them.
It's a good
Eh,
fuck around game, right? It's one of those games you can play for hours or you can
yeah.
play it for a couple of minutes. It's kind of, it has that sort of like Minecraft kind of a niche kind of thing, but yet it's not
Mhm.
really niche because there's like millions of people that love it, but it fills that void, you know?
Of course. And, I'm going to end off by saying that huge mic drop moment at the end with Banjo Kazooie being in Smash Brothers. Like,
Mhm.
you know, at first I thought they were trolling everybody with what they were doing with the dog and the ducks there. And then they actually came. I was like, whoa, like just mind blown that I kind of figured like Microsoft was gonna work with Nintendo because they have like a renewed friendship, a renewed partnership. So I kind of figured Banjo Kazooie was on the way as a character for Smash. That's what everybody's hope was, and not only did they announce it, they showed gameplay, and man, do they look good! They look fun to play, and just just like
Mhm.
the megaton, like it was just broadcast like everybody let you know. Like everybody was excited. Oh, Banjo's back. Banjo's in Smash. Like just the excitement from everybody, that really tells you something.
Absolutely. Let's give a big shout out to some people up in the chat. Metaphorical is here as well as Craig Simmons. What's going on? Hollywood and Metaphorical. Guys, don't forget to check out Metaphorical's channel on YouTube and check him out this weekend on Saturday as he'll be hooking up with the Ashton Luca to give his couple of cents worth on E3 and all the other shows as well. That will be on the Scumcast. I think Luca's planning to run that something like 8 p.m. Pacific, kind of a late show, I think, on Saturday, if I'm correct. But go check out his channel, guys. Show support for the people that show support. We got awesome people up in here. What's going on? No More Heroes got me yelling like, yeah, guy. Antonio Lacia, yes. No More Heroes, man. I'm telling you, if you played the original on the Wii, it made better masturbators out of us all. That shit really got your wrist muscles going. Let me tell you, because I don't know if you ever played that game, but Travis, I would have the charge his lightsaber in the same shaking motion as you would, whack the old weasel. So it's kind of funny. Yeah, don't shake your Switch so hard though. Shit might pop off. So just everybody's out there shaking their Switch in public. Charge, bitch, charge. Oh man, those little Joy Cons. Yeah, yeah. Anyway, let's. I'm not trying to get off topic here. All right, good take on Nintendo's show. They had a lot of cool stuff. Definitely, I love the fact that Nintendo always appeals to like the new, the old, and the nostalgia.
Mhm.
They kind of nail every department. You know what I mean? So, but let's get Salty's take on it. Salty, I think you enjoyed Nintendo's showing this time around.
Oh man, understatement. Yeah, I've been trying to say this low key. The winner of this generation is going to be the Switch, man, because it's coming up and it's coming up fast with the sales and just what they're pulling out when it comes to third party. Because that was kind of a knock on them before, and now they're kind of taking care of that with The Witcher 3 and lots of Bethesda titles with Doom and et cetera, et cetera. But like, yeah, there were some things that didn't show up. Obviously, Metro Prime 4 got basically it's starting over. So no new Bayonetta. Yeah,
Mhm.
the Nintendo Switch update that was supposed to be coming out, that didn't show up. But yeah, like the banger of out of all of it was the fact that they came out with the Breath of the Wild sequel, that it's in development, and that I think a lot of people hoped that Microsoft would do something like that, a game that's pretty, kind of far off. Who knows when this game's actually going to come out, but the fact that they'd let people know that it's in development, I think some people would have liked to see that with some of the stuff that's in the works for Microsoft, but it didn't happen. The surprise, it wasn't a surprise because Banjo Kazooie, the situation there was I think I can't pronounce his name. The president of Nintendo, he was like, I think he was at the Microsoft conference, and then people were wondering if there's going to be some kind of announcement there, and then Microsoft put on their schedule of things that you needed to pay attention to. They had all the Microsoft stuff, and all of a sudden they had Nintendo's conference up there. It's like not their conference, but the direct. It's like, what the, like, why would Microsoft put that up there? So obviously something was going to happen. So that announcement was cool. Banjo-Kazooie, and then Luigi's Mansion, man. What can you say about that? Luigi's probably, I don't know, man. I go back and forth, but I think Yoshi's my number one favorite character. Because he's so cool, man. I like Yoshi a lot, but Luigi's one of those dudes, man. I mean, he's got his own thing, and Luigi's Mansion looks fucking awesome, so that's cool. They got like Alien Isolation coming down to the, I don't really care about that, but Animal Crossing's not my thing, but it kind of got delayed there, so I think people would be disappointed with that. But man, like, talk about getting people excited. There's tons to look forward to. Link's Awakening looks absolutely amazing. The Witcher, I was kind of impressed the way it looked, because I thought it was going to be kind of like, what was it? What's the dinosaur game that they ported over? God, I can't think.
Oh, Ark.
Ark. Yeah. Did you guys see Ark? My God, it's an abomination. Let's just put it that way. Yes. So there's some bad looking games on the Switch, and I'm talking about horrible. Like, they should never even done it, or they got the wrong people porting it over. But like, if you look at The Witcher, yeah, like obviously there's graphical downgrades, but the fact that they can pull it off is, I think it's more magical than anything else, because I didn't think that ever is going to happen. I think you could actually go back into the tapes of my podcast, and I said, yeah, that'd be like getting The Witcher on the Switch. You know what I'm saying? Like an open world game like that, because people were talking about it. And lo and behold, they're getting that shit to work. So yeah, is it a graphical downgrade? Hell yeah, it is. But for the like only Switch owners, and I know that people think that doesn't exist, but in Japan, there are people that just have a Switch, and the fact that they get to play this game is outstanding. And then Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3, one of my most anticipated games for the end of the, this summer area, where I'm going to have my kid, and I need my portability, right? If I need to throw it down, I can play it and stuff. So I'm looking forward to the game. So, man, I give it like a 9.5, because this shit was, I think it was the highlight of the E3, honestly. So.
Yeah, it was definitely, compared to Nintendo's E3 Direct from last year, this was a much better show. Again, they kind of hit all the bases. They appealed to nostalgia. They appealed to the retro people, because I mean, freaking, they got all the Resident Evils are pretty much coming out playable on the Switch. Like, it's just, The Witcher itself is a pretty big announcement. That game is historically known across, everywhere that it's been one of the best games of the generation. So if they at least make a solid port of this game, it's going to do extremely well on the Switch, because I could see a lot of Xbox, PlayStation 4 people that already own The Witcher buying this on the Switch just for the portable aspect, taking it anywhere. So if they keep, and they say it's a complete edition. So, I mean, as long as it's, I think the biggest thing is even if the resolution is going to go down, which it will, but as long as I think they keep the content the same and they can keep the frame rate really steady, because I think that's key for this game is they keep the frame rate decent. We can sort of handle the bit of a visual downgrade it's expected, but yeah, definitely keep the frame rate solid, and I think they'll have a winner there, and it'll sell like hotcakes for sure. I mean, I was impressed. I mean, Luigi's Mansion, I think that's one of the most sort of underrated or maybe underappreciated games from Nintendo's library. It was a super big success on the 3DS platforms, and back when it came out on the GameCube. It was a great little game, and it's not often you get to see Luigi take it front row and center. I thought that looked really cool. I'm actually interested in that. Link's Awakening, the revisioning of that game looks amazing. I love the art style. The traditional Zelda. So, I mean, that's pretty much a must buy. I think it comes out 10 days after Gears of War. Thanks a lot, Nintendo and Microsoft, for killing me.
Dude, how are we going to pay for all these games, man?
This fall, and then the first part of next year. Once again, guys, you might as well go take your third job or start working the corner, because not only that, the collector's editions that are coming out for these games, nuts. I don't know, you guys seen like the Final Fantasy VII collector's edition? That was insane. The one that's coming up for Cyberpunk looks insane. The Gears of War one comes with freaking Jack, a freaking what do you call it? A drone that has a camera in it. I'm sold. Doom's got the freaking helmet. And these are like 200 plus. That's US. So like, oh my God. You know, crazy shit. Oh my god! But I love Nintendo's show. To be honest with you, there wasn't a lot in there that I went, eh. Like I'm not the biggest Smash Brothers fan in the world. I don't even own the game, but I will say I thought it was pretty cool to see Banjo Kazooie coming back. You know, first time in years they'll be back on a Nintendo platform, thanks to the partnership between Microsoft, Rare, and Nintendo. So that kind of leaves the door open as to who knows what in the hell. You know, I heard a rumor and a rumbling a while ago, and I got a funny feeling this could come to fruition. I could totally see Rare Replay getting redone for the Switch. And I think that would be huge. I think that game would sell like bananas on the Switch, just because of its association with Nintendo. And a lot of people remember those games fondly from the N64 era and beyond. So that would be kind of cool. You never really know what's going on with Microsoft and Nintendo. So overall, Nintendo's show, I think, definitely was the best one of the year. You know, and it's kind of crazy because Nintendo is the anomaly in this industry, because Sony and Microsoft remind me of boxers that go out and run 10 kilometers and train hard every day and constantly trying to one up each other, right? And Nintendo's the fucking butterbean. Fucking drinks beer, comes in weighing 300 pounds, and just knocks the fuck out of people without even trying it. It's like, what the heck? You know what I mean? That's what Nintendo. Yeah. Like they don't even try. It's like they're just you don't see Nintendo doing the same crap that Microsoft. Like those guys are always doing the tech stuff. Let's do this. Let's lead the technology. You'll see this. And Nintendo goes the opposite fucking direction. Microsoft, Sony go right. They fucking go left. Microsoft, Sony go 120 frames per second. Nintendo's like, 30 frames a second will do, but we'll just make the best games possible. The games that people actually give a shit about. And they keep doing this. And some people don't care about Nintendo, but obviously, based on the reaction and from the way the Switch is selling, obviously lots of people still do. They tug at the heartstrings. There's a few things Nintendo definitely needs to improve on. Nintendo Online, okay? Mm-hmm. And for fuck's sakes, guys, get Netflix on your fucking Switch eventually, please. Come on, it's a perfect little portable for that. You can't even, you don't even have it on there yet. Like I can't phantom that. Netflix is bought on everything but the Switch. Like what's going on?
Party system. I mean, yeah, I think it's only a matter of time before they sign up on that Azure train. You know, I think they're just trying to get the logistics to work, dude. Yeah. So I think where there's smoke, there's fire. And I know it kind of fell through with the rumors, man, but I think Nintendo will sign up eventually. So
if Sony does, then I can't see why Nintendo won't.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. It's kind of crazy and scary where the future is taking us, where these companies are sort of going, in large part because now they see there's other predators out there in terms of Google and Stadia, and God only knows who else wants to jump in and take a piece of that pie. And that's what you got to remember. End of the day, some people look at them as nonchalant, but there's still a huge untapped market out there. There's still plenty of dollars to be spent, and these guys want to take it. And if they're taking it from you, if you're going to spend your money on Stadia, then it's all likelihood that that's $120 or $50 or $20 you didn't spend on Xbox, Sony, or Nintendo. And that's how these companies look at it. I said this on a podcast before. Nintendo, Sony, and Microsoft have spent too much over the last 20, 30 years investing in their infrastructure ecosystems, and all of these studios to kind of let the other big boy on the block come in and say, we're just going to scoop the carpet out from under you. So I think they're very aware of where this is going, and they're going to see where the gamers want to take it, which is kind of crazy. Shout out to Free Jack. I don't know if I should even be telling him, but I guess he's going to give me a Stadia because he's got some sort of founders pack and he has an extra thing or something. I don't know. And so I'll try it. I mean, if I'm going to get it for free, I'll fucking try it, and then I'll be able to give people's take on it, at least, my take on it anyway.
He didn't tell you when he said he's going to give you a Stadia that's a sex position? No, I'm just kidding.
I don't want to think about that one. We missed Primal tonight. God, she's easy to miss when she's not. She always has a great comeback, doesn't she? She's always looking for holes to fill. Primal,
she wrecked me in Gears, man. Holy shit, she's good, man.
Speaking of, buddy, I got to hand it to you right now. You fucking held your own. You did really well, actually. You I don't know if you just started playing it recently, but you were tight. You were doing good, man. You owned me on a few occasions, that's for sure.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to getting more practice in before Gears 5.
Yeah. So that's a great game, man. Like it just never gets old. And playing the other night, guys, I'm telling you, that's gaming at its purest. Me, Salty, Primal, There was a shit ton of us in there playing Gears the other night, and it was pure. It was awesome. We were all having a blast. Nobody was being a bitch or whiny, and we were having a blast. I'm telling you, it's too bad it wasn't so late on the East Coast. We probably could have kept playing all night. But just a shout out to everybody that showed up with us and played, because we had a fucking blast. If you know, and somebody said you didn't send me an invitation, Noof. It's like, well, dude, I only put this shit out on Twitter for days. So if you follow me at all, pay attention to my shit, or you missed the boat. I can't go through like 300 plus people on my Xbox looking for people to send invites to. Okay, so keep your eyes out, and if you want in, Jen, send me a message or add me on Xbox. It's that fucking simple. It's not rocket science.
Click the bell for his fucking tweets, man.
Absolutely. Put the notifications on, so when I send them out, you can ignore the bullshit you don't like that I send, but you can keep it to the other stuff. But yeah, man, Nintendo was good. Overall, like I said, that was a solid E3. I really did. I think it was a solid. Jago Kukin's in the house. Solid fucking E3 overall. You know, well, I was a good one take on this though, because we've seen a lot of this at this E3, okay, and I just want to get your idea on where we're going. We not only we saw lots of new software, we saw stuff that's obviously hinting at the future, but I've noticed a large trend in bringing retro games back, older games back, remasters back are coming really popular. Where do you guys stand on it? Are we flooding it a little bit too much, or do you think there is a time and a place for them? Because obviously we're getting a lot, especially on the Switch. By the way, it was unannounced, but Nintendo has confirmed there will be 5,132 new indies coming up for Switch next year. What do you think of this whole, like, the older games either coming back in a up-res version or remaster? What do you think of all that? Either one of you guys can jump in.
I don't mind.
Yeah, I think that if it's enough time, I think that it's fine. You know, like Link's Awakening, how long ago did that shit come out? You know, it was on the Game Boy. And the graphics were shit. So if you remake that and you bring it into the new age, that's enough time. But like if you're remaking a game that came out 5 years ago or remastering it, that's just that's where I draw the line, if that makes sense.
The Last of Us.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm actually same train of thought. Like, you know, as long as there's been like a certain like length of time, you know, where they can show us the improvements that they've done to the game, a la a Halo 2 or a you know, just something where they can show us the actual graphical enhancements, you know, going from like the original Gears to the Ultimate Edition, you know, show us the graphical enhancements, whatever it may be, whatever musical, you know, some of them do the they redo the musical scores and so on, you know, show us, you know, put the effort into it. I'm like, oh, okay, so this is the same game, but you guys have put, you know, a lot more you know, retouching to it and so on. Okay, I can appreciate that. But if it's just like a complete like direct port with just a little bit of shininess added, I don't know.
I'll put this out there for you guys, Nintendo, if you're listening, or somebody at Nintendo is listening to this podcast or catches it down the road. Here's a perfect remake for you that I would love to see with new age graphics, and I would buy them. I'd pay $80 for them easy. Remake Super Mario 64 and remake Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time with today's graphic engines. Something that would look good on the Switch. I would buy those two in a heartbeat. Just telling you, just putting it out there. There is money to be made, and I think a lot of people in this chat would feel the same way. I would love to see those two games redone, because those are still two of my most fond games for that N64, and a lot of those games for that N64, PlayStation, Sega Saturn era, like a lot. Speaking, you guys see the Panzer Dragoon?
Yeah.
Wow, that kind of dropped my jaw a little bit.
That was a surprise.
Yeah. That's coming back. Cool
Again,
shit, man.
Nintendo had a lot of announcements.
Yeah, indeed. But yeah, it's good to see them coming back. It's just as long as they're done right. Like I said, if they're money grabs, kind of like Salty alluded to, no take, right? No deal. But when you're doing them from the ground up, especially when you're remaking, like Resident Evil 2 this year was a perfect example of how you do a remake. Same thing with Gears Ultimate. What else was there? Gears Ultimate. There's been a bunch of games that are done like that are fucking phenomenal. So that's what I like to see. Not just, let's up the resolution, but just, you know, make the game from the ground up, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, you know, again, it sucks, you know, when you see like lazy, like just, oh yeah, you know, we made this 1080p or whatever, and you
And
know,
there's
just
no
a,
extras either, no bonuses or nothing, right?
yeah, you know, like there's no real incentive for me to get it. It's like, well, you know, I just, you know, show me the effort. Show me that you cherish this game that you guys possess. I already like it, but you know, show me that you guys want to like, you know, spruce it up a bit and try and resell me on this.
Right. And last but not least, because what do you think about Microsoft finally saying they're putting to bed the backwards compatibility? I guess they're kind of done with their last list of titles now. They put a list out there, and that's it. We don't know if there will be more titles from the backwards compatibility getting the Xbox One X sort of upgrades. But what do you think now that because there's still a lot of titles they never got around to, but it looks like they're kind of done with whatever they're going to do, and they're going to move on. So what do you think?
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh yeah, no, it just like I'll admit I was disappointed when I heard about that, but at the same time, you know, because they're missing a lot of key like IP from the original Xbox or well the
Mhm.
360 too, but even the original Xbox, you know, Mech
Yeah,
Assault and so on. Like there's quite a few that people were listing off to me. And you know, it is upsetting that way. You know, a lot of people want to see the backwards compatibility program live on and get more support on the Xbox One ecosystem. But I mean, now that they're transitioning to Scarlet, I mean, it's good that they're letting us know now, but I can't help but feel at least a little bit disappointed.
absolutely. Yeah, the biggest disappointment for me is now I guess we won't see Chronicles of Riddick remastered, or at least yeah, on the backwards compat for X, because I really wanted that game. I know sometimes I got to do with licensing and stuff. It's a little bit harder because you got to go and deal with movie companies and stuff, so it's a little harder than dealing with the publishers. But that's the big one for me because I really like that game and I wanted to play it on my Xbox One X. You know, so
Mhm. Absolutely.
so
Especially since we were the ones that, you know, we were the ones that like on the Xbox ecosystem that really brought together the backwards compatibility movement on the Xbox, you know?
mhm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, the whole I think it comes down to like licensing and how much it would cost to get like that shit approved. Like I think they prioritized those super popular games and kind of did that. I don't know what the behind the scenes stuff is, but kind of it's a money thing,
Yeah.
obviously. So they did the ones that were most popular. That's why they've had people vote on it and in the beginning, and they kind of funneled their way down until they got to a point where they just think economically it doesn't make sense, and that you know it is what it is.
Mhm.
I'm just happy that we have the ability to have backwards compatibility and it kind of move the industry
Mhm.
forward in that sense. Because I don't think the PlayStation 5 would have had it if Xbox didn't come out with their stuff this gen
Yeah.
and see
Totally
how
agree.
popular it was, you know. So that's cool. I mean, at this point, if you really want to get those titles, I mean, you could probably find an old Xbox, or if you don't have one, or you know, plug that bitch in and go play those, you know. So
No doubt. Yeah, it's not the end of the world. It's like it's not even like ground shaking news. It's a little bit saddening, but at the end of the day, like so, we got to move forward with gaming. I think our backlogs are too extensive. It's all good and fine and dandy at the end of the day, but realistically, any of us in this chat room, any of us on this panel, you go back and you look at how much you're playing your old games compared to what your new games, and I bet you it's like a fraction, probably less than 5%. There might be the odd person that's still hung up on their old, Splinter Cell game or something that, you know what I mean? But I mean, for the most part, though, like we've all kind of moved on. The ship has sailed. It's great to have them there, and it's going to be amazing that Scarlett's going to play 4 generations of Xbox titles. That is insane. Kudos to them for that, having the foresight. And I totally agree, Salty. If Xbox didn't do it this gen with back compat, I'm highly doubtful the PlayStation 5 would have it. So, PlayStation guys, you might want to thank Xbox for that because remember, it wasn't a long time ago that Jack Ryan said nobody cares about old games. Well, now the tune has changed. There's still money in old games. There's still servers being out there played, and you can't forget your heritage. I think somebody said it on a podcast a while back. When movies come out, nobody forgets about the old movies. You can still watch an old movie on your brand new Blu-ray or DVD player, right? So why does it got to be different with games? Why does it when a generation comes and all of a sudden you have to forget the older generation? Sure, gaming doesn't age as well or hasn't aged as well from 15 or 20 years ago as it has with say like sometimes the movies. Like you can go back and watch Terminator 2 and it still looks pretty damn good, but you go back and play like like I said, some of those PlayStation 1 games or Saturn or N64 games, and you're like, ugh, what the fuck is this? You know, even the Dreamcast, I was just playing that the other night. Actually, it hasn't aged as badly for some games as I thought it might have. Dreamcast was a bit of ahead of its time. Still looks half decent, to be honest with you. But yeah, anyway, I don't want to get too far off topic. We're about ready to roll out the show. It was fantastic, guys. I want to thank you so much for being here with us tonight. Thanks for carrying the ball since we didn't have Primal in here to feel our balls. So thank you so much for that. So let's do some outros. Big thanks to everybody in the chat. You guys are fucking amazing. Thank you so much. Jay Slayer J, what's happening? Metaphorical, Jago, Iceman, everybody that's been here. Spider-Man, Antonio Alessia, Dreadpool, the list goes on. Timothy Dixon, you guys have been here like pretty much the whole show. Thanks for being here with us. Appreciate the love and support. Yeah, guys, as far as my channel is concerned, I know I just got like I think about 3 or 4 subs thanks to Metaphorical and his family on this podcast. So I think I might be at about 9, maybe 920 now. So still got about 80 or so to go before I hit that milestone, that plateau, which I'd love to get to. I probably don't deserve it, but fuck it. If I get there, thanks to you, thanks to 1,000 people that get me there, and thanks to Salty and everybody that's kind of helped push me in that right direction as well. So yeah, Chris Levi, thanks for being here. But yeah, Invader, where can people find you, man? What's happening on your channels? What are you involved in? Let people know where they can find you and follow you, my friend.
All right. Well, again, hey, thanks for having me on here, Noof. You know, I really enjoy the Gaming After Dark with you and Primal, you know, the old Game Dosage crew, and it's always a pleasure being here. You guys are always so welcome and just awesome.
Ditcher. He never shows up. I've been trying to get Expect the Ditcher for a while, but he just... Sorry, I've renamed the guy Expect the Ditcher because he's going to do every show until about an hour before the show, then something turns up and he can't make it. So I love you, Glitcher, man, but pull your fucking pants strings up, bro, and get on one of these goddamn podcasts, will you?
Too funny. But yeah, you guys can find me on my YouTube channel, Invader Gaming, and of course, you guys see me pretty active on Twitter at Invader_Y986, and you can catch me on Sunday evenings at 9 p.m. Eastern Time on TXR podcast with Tim Dog and Southbound and Megatron. We got a great crew there and always a blast. We got some interviews lined up, and you know, just tune in. We're a great crew to listen to.
Fantastic. Salty, let people know what's happening to you. And brother, you are one of the busiest guys in this podcast community. So tell people where they can, if they haven't already, get over and make sure you follow this guy. He puts out some fantastic fucking content. Go check him out. And plus, you can check him out on Thursday nights, but he'll give you the details.
Yeah, you can check me out boycotting Ubisoft. No, I'm just kidding. You can find me on Twitter. First of all, that's like my venue of choice for social media. Saltiest Gaming, the Eyes of One. I'm going to be putting a video out tomorrow to probably get some people salty, so stay tuned for that. What else, man? Hopefully my channel live stream is going to get reinstated. I got a DM from Chris in the chat. He talked to Spawnwave, and Spawnwave had to go through his like legal people or like his representatives to get his live streaming turned back on. That's what big YouTubers get, right? They get instant access and they got representatives and stuff, and the lowly people like myself, we just get shit on, you know what I'm saying? So I'll be waiting until YouTube decides to get off their asses and let me stream. If by chance the Thursday rolls around and live streaming privileges aren't renewed by then, I don't know, we'll figure it out. I'll let you guys know what's going on there. But yeah, just same old. Got less than a month until my baby's born, man. I'm excited. I'll put some pictures up there on Instagram and Twitter and all that good stuff. So yeah.
Well, are you gonna have the joystick ready as soon as the baby comes out, or what? Baby's ready to go. Xbox all the way. God, yeah. It's scary by the time that your baby is grown up and turns like 20, where the fuck the game industry is gonna be. Jesus.
Yeah, man, it's weird, man, because my daughter's such a gamer. I'm just wondering, you know, what her name's Zoe. Like, we're gonna name her Zoe. I'm wondering what Zoe's gonna be. You know, like, is she gonna be a gamer or she's not gonna like games? It's gonna be interesting. You know.
Yep. Yeah. Shout out to our good buddy Irrelevant Native as well. I think him and Rihanna are expecting as well. So congrats to those two as well. And to anybody that's got kids on the way. And you've still got no fucking kids yet because he hasn't grown up himself. So maybe before my wife gets fucking dusty down below, we'll have one because she's getting up there. So I think my wife is going to be 47 in her birthday. So that clock is ticking.
Kids are for everybody, dude. I can see why you wouldn't want to have one. I love my kids, but damn, they're
I have one. It just haven't happened. Boom, boom, kaboom. Apparently, don't work in the bedroom. So
mine was a little bit too good, so I'm getting a vasectomy at the end of the month. If you guys didn't know that, TMI, I know, but it's happening. No more kids for me, man. I'm done.
There you go. He's got a new podcast coming out called Snippets with Salty.
Yep. Frozen vegetables.
There you go. A sack of peas on your knees, baby. Great show, great panel, great fucking topics tonight. I knew we have enough to keep us rolling in easy 2 hours. We could have went 2 hours on Microsoft's alone, but we had to kind of move it along. Otherwise, I think overall E3 was pretty good. And I guess I'll just real quick. What do you think of the whole celebrity thing starting to come into the gaming aspect now?
I like it.
Cool.
Yeah,
Any celebrity either one of you guys would love to see sort of on a fucking, digitized in your favorite game?
Man, Keanu's so good, dude. I want a John Wick video game, dude. Like, some people were saying or something like that, man. I want a John Wick game with Keanu in it, man. Not some like half-ass mocap of some random person like the
Absolutely.
Project, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, John Wick game with Keanu, and you know what? I think it would be awesome making it. You get that. I don't even know if they're around in United Front Games because they made fucking Sleeping Dogs for fucking Square Enix.
Yeah.
That'd be dope. That'd be a cool engine to make that on because I had some really cool combat in that game.
Yeah, they're gone.
Well, maybe they can find some people that can build off of that and make one. But yeah, for me, man, of course, you gotta. Hopefully, somebody makes a game with fucking Arnold in here eventually, like a really good one or something like that. Speaking of fucking Terminator and Gears, fucking call that too. I made a joke, but it was kind of fucking weird. I was like, what would be cool?
Anything, man. I'm down for it. But you look at it like Terminator is going to be in Mortal Kombat as a DLC character, and they're going to be in Gears. I think a couple other games, man. They're marketing that shit.
I know, man. Terminator's everywhere. Yep. Come on, you're going to do it. You got to get out there and support me and play it in all the games. I'm going to kick your ass. I'll send a T-800 over there to kick your ass. Anyway, guys, it's been a pleasure. It's been a hoot. Great panel, great show, great chat. As always, you guys are fucking fantastic. Hit that like button, share it out, tell your friends, your family, and all your perverted friends about me, and send them over this way. I'll be back next week, even if I got to go to New York itself and fucking pull her bra strap down. But yeah, we'll get her back on here. Anyway, guys, catch you later. Have a good night. Peace, love, out. See you on gaming.
Yep.
Take it easy, guys.